So anytime it's personal, it makes it more fun. Carmen Carr, Danger Zones, Carmen Carr.
I don't want to. Yes, I want that candy bar. Or, I just don't feel like it. I am not going to do it. Does that sound familiar to any of you? Like a toddler, a teenager? Have you raised any children, grandchildren? I'm sure you've been exposed to that behavior. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. When you experience this behavior, you are entering the danger zone, or also known as the hormone zone. The hormones can play some tricky games on you. You just never know when they kick in and bring you high and drop you low. Last Friday I was in Safeway and I had the opportunity to observe this young toddler throwing himself on the floor, screaming at the top of his lungs and throwing a fit. Mommy, I can't live without this candy bar. I need to have the candy bar. I want it now. And Mommy was like, of course you can have the candy bar. You can have anything you want. Just get off the floor, please. Frustrated, ashamed, and super embarrassed. I observed from the distance, and yes, I could relate to that young toddler. How often do I feel like throwing myself on the floor and throwing a fit? I'll spare you. I won't do it in front of you. But hopefully, I would suggest maybe you have experienced the same thing. Those mood swings galore, up and down, and you just never know when they arrive. Sometimes I have to really censor the words that are running through my head and trying to come out of my mouth. Well, sometimes I'm successful, and sometimes I'm not so successful, where I'm unable to censor the words that roll off my tongue. Last week I was driving down the road, driving home, and I could feel it coming on. I could feel it. The anxiety and the edginess. You just never know when it shows up. Here it is. I observed a young driver driving behind me, and he had the audacity of tailgating me. What? I was wondering if he was trying to hook onto my trailer hitch, catching a free ride, saving some gas, enjoying the view while I take him around. There were few words that came out of my mouth, and I'll spare you, I won't share them with you, and they came out quietly because, thank goodness, because I had the dog in the back of the car, so he didn't get to hear them. But I could feel my blood pressure rising. I was getting really excited. My teeth clenching, looking in the rearview mirror, looking the windshield, and bam! The person in front of me slammed on his brakes. Yikes! What am I going to do now? What is Hitchhiker going to do? I profusely tapped my brakes, trying to signal him. Hey, get off my butt. This is going to cause a huge accident. Finally coming to a screeching halt, half an inch between my front bumper and the rear bumper of the car in front of me. And what about Hitchhiker? You guessed it. He made it. Lucky him. Or maybe not quite so lucky. Because I got out of the car and I was ready to share those words that were running through my head with him. As all of a sudden I finally caught myself and realized, whew, those hormones, once again, they got a hold of me. God, I caught myself before I reached the door, and the poor young kid was slouched down in his car looking up at me. He's like, I'm sorry. I said, you better be. What were you thinking? Do you see what could have happened? Pay closer attention. I said it in a nice way, and I dropped all the other words that I had earlier injected into my language, which I won't repeat. Anyway, fellow Toastmasters, one of the good things was that I was not driving the car that has my name plastered all over it. Another good reason why I had to buy a second car. For those, particular moments when I need to be incognito. You know those moments. Well, from a mature woman acting like a toddler or a teenager, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, if the side effects would make me younger and maybe take care of some of these wrinkles and make my face look more like a toddler, I would be rather appreciative. Yet, unfortunately, I haven't noticed those side effects. So I warn you, no matter if it's a toddler, a teenager, or a mature adult, not exclusively women, because I've heard about men and their midlife crises, but we'll save that for another speech. Be aware when you enter the danger zone and walk on thin ice.